courses, and maybe we find out the solution that we can all jojo and maybe help ourselves with it, so that we can be empowered in one way or the other, or we can have a long-lasting marriages, which is going to help us in our daily lives. Together with me here today, it's Abigail Sefa-Boateng and Priscilla. I think Priscilla, due to network problems, she's yet to join in, but she will definitely join us. So we have our sister Abigail Sefa-Boateng. All right.
Hello. Hello.
It's going to be we want all of you to be involved in it, so that it can be interactive for us all. So Abigail, welcome to the program.
Thank you, my sister. Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Akosha, your mic is on mute, so we can hear you. Akosha, your mic is on mute. Can you please unmute your mic?
Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think it was just some network problems. Yeah. Okay, so Abigail, when we say emotional abuse, what is emotional abuse?
All right, thank you, Ako. And thank you, my dear listeners and viewers. We thank God for bringing us together once again. When we talk of emotions, we've all heard about the word emotion. And emotion is talking about a feeling. It's a strong feeling that we derive from one's circumstances or the mood or relationship with others. For example, as we normally say, someone is emotional person. When you tell the person, when you blow maybe a bad news or a good news to the person, how the person takes the message makes you know how the person feels. So, for example, person might be at the workplace, someone might call, hello, have you heard the news? The way the person, what is it? What news? What is it? Then the person is anxious to know whatever the news is. After blowing the news, the person might start crying, or maybe even it becomes tears of joy, even if it's a good message, but the person might cry. So that makes the person emotion. So when we come to emotional abuse in marriage, It's the way another person treats their fellow partner. For example, you are with your partner and the partner might not use certain words, that may abuse you. For example, you might be going to a party with your friend, with your husband or with your partner, and you go and wear a dress, and the dress that you take, say, hey, and I say, this dress there, and fatal. You are abusing the person emotionally. The person might change the dress, go and wear another dress, but the words that you use on the person might be with the person for the whole day. The person might not be of him or herself the whole day, even if they might take another dress and go with you. So when we talk of emotion, there are certain actions and the words that comes from our mouths that we tell our partners that makes it emotion, that makes the person emotion, that makes the person feel bad, hurt within the person. And for that emotional abuse, sometimes you might see it physically. Sometimes too, it will be within the person. The person might be crying within, but you might not know. There are some words that you say to your fellow partner that the person might take it, might be hurt within him or herself, but you might not see. So that is what we call it, emotional abuse in marriage.
Okay, thank you. So what and the person shouts at you, can we say it's an emotional abuse? Or is it that sometimes they use our flaws to just
Please,
do
your
something
line is
against us?
breaking.
What exactly, what
Your
kind
line
of
is
words,
breaking.
what kind of actions?
Please, can you come again? Your line is
Can you please
breaking.
hear me now?
Yeah, yes.
Can you please hear me now?
Yes, yes, please.
Okay, what I said was when we say kind of words, what kind of spouse say to his or her partner that will make the other party feel like he or she is being abused emotionally, or what kind of action?
Okay. Yeah,
Can
a
we
lot
say that
of them.
because this
A
person
lot
has
of
done
them
A,
that,
B, C, D, it means that he or she is abusing me?
for example, as you said, shouting is one of them. Shouting to your partner in the midst of people is one of them. There are some words or there are some things, issues that you can even call your partner to the corner to tell. Maybe this thing that you are doing, please put a stop to it. I don't like it. I don't want you to do this. Then in front of people or your children, tell them, now, then you shout at the person. The person might feel very bad. And also, as I already said, you wear something, they say, hey, Oba also say, Edia cry na washi, atale tantan be when I di bedi mechi, me friend di mechi. It's also an abusive talk. And also can be into shouting, insulting, any some kind of words that we use. No, na a friend emotional abuse. No.
Okay, so how would I know that maybe a friend of mine is being abused emotionally? If I would want to, we always say that we should be each other's keeper. So if I would want to reach out to a friend who might be having marital problems, how would I know that this person is being abused emotionally? What are the signs? Is there something to show that somebody is being abused emotionally?
Yes, there are a lot of signs. One I would say is public embarrassment is one sign. People who commit emotional abuse often make a public spectacle of you. and may ridicule you for what they believe are your shortcomings in front of others. So it's also a sign, and no regard for your thoughts or feelings. Maybe when you are talking in the midst of people, they might find a way of shutting you down. Person might be abusing you, may imply that the moves you like to watch, the movies that you like to watch, or the hobbies you enjoy are stupid or are a waste of time. That one too is also what? A sign of an abuse. Always when you want to watch a certain movie, or maybe something that you like doing most, and the person is always criticizing you, it makes it what? Very abuse. Because what you like, the person doesn't like. But the person always, for example, let me make this now. We all know that men like watching football. Then women also like these telenovelas and other things. When they come to see you on television, always watching those and na motifie na mo share na mo sell electricity ni nyama saa no mo de mo sorry free hanam de mention ma de papa bi. All these they have no regard for your thoughts or your feelings. You might just say the thing. And also another one is also denial. They may deny or hurting you and tell you that you are losing your mind or making it up, because you may start to believe that your emotions or feelings are invalid. And that is a terrible feeling, and it's not true. They always want to give you orders. When you are with a person and the person always wants to give you orders, it's telling you of what? Emotional abuse. They don't want you to use your mind to do something. Always they want you to take their words to do something, which is very bad. So giving you orders, do this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this, is also part of what, or is also a sign of what? Emotional abuse. Abusers often use controlling words. Sometimes they use controlling words or behavior to manipulate or scare others. Say ebi mo ho omo kasa kwase obesi atia ade bi kra na, oh my darling, I want to, what is it? Kind of words that will come from their mouth, their utterances might scare you. You might not even want to go near them. So it's also another sign of what? Abuse. They always want to treat you as a child. It's also another point. Controlling the type of clothes you wear, what you eat, or what your friends are, is a sign of what? Being emotionally abused. Because they will always want to choose for you. They don't want you to choose for yourself. So it's also a sign of what? Emotional. If you are in a relationship and the person will be telling you, maybe I don't want to see the person. I don't want you to go to the person's house. I don't want you to do this and that. It's a sign of controlling you. The person doesn't want you to be of yourself. But it shouldn't be so. So treating you as a child, like giving you orders. Do this, I like this, I don't like this. This is what I will eat today. It means that the whole house, everybody, if you have appetite or you don't have appetite, you feel for the food or not, you have to eat it. That is also another sign of what? Emotional abuse.
Okay, thank you. Now we know what emotional abuse is. We know the signs. So is it possible that I may be experiencing that in my marriage? I mean, somebody will be experiencing that in his or her marriage and wouldn't know that maybe he or she is being emotionally abused. Is it possible? Do we always have to let a third party draw the attention to it that, no, this is what you are going through, or the person can realize it himself or herself?
The person can realize it because you are in the house, you are going through a certain. So when you go out, when you go to work, or you go out, you are not of yourself. For example, as I said, controlling, if you have a controlling partner, every minute the person wants to know where you are. You might not be of yourself. And here now, what time are you supposed to come home? Do you know this time? Like, you might not be of yourself. So I think you will know that you are in that situation.
Okay, I think I'm going to call any of the participants to also give his or her view about it. I'll call, I've seen Solomon. So, Mr. Solomon, in your view, what is emotional abuse?
In my view, emotional abuse. This is a difficult one. I feel emotional abuse is when your partner does something to you that affects you, makes you feel sad, makes you feel happy. But usually abuse makes you feel sad. So anything that makes you feel sad or depresses you or anything that discourages you from doing what you have to do. That's my point of view.
Okay. Does anyone have a different view of emotional abuse apart from what our sister and our brother has already said? Do we have other views of emotional abuse?
Yeah, let me also share some aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
So the first presenter presented it in the open one, the one we can see, the one that we use threatening words. We want to overshadow our partners and stuff. These are the ones that we can see. But the other aspect of emotional abuse has to do with people not talking. You return from work tired, you needed some words of encouragement from your partner. And she or he tends not to mind you. You need somebody to speak to. Emotionally, you are distressed. The eye from the person alone put you off. So see that others use different form of the abuse. You could have a husband or a wife who in public, whether on pekasa. But trust me, within the person, what a person will do to you, or we all know the importance of communication in our marriages. And that if you are stressed up and you want someone to speak to you, and the person doesn't speak to you alone, that alone is killing marriages. So we have to also appreciate from that angle that not only shouting and threatening people in public, however, sometimes you'll be somewhere, someplace, when your husband or your wife come, that alone, you cannot speak again. You cannot even enter to where your husband is part. You cannot, look, some people cannot even WhatsApp their husbands to share a laughing issue on status or WhatsApp, but they are quickly to share it among their other colleagues to laugh. When you are doing that, you are killing your husband emotionally or your wife emotionally. So we should also appreciate it from that overt behavior of our husbands and wives who also abuse our thoughts in terms of talking and not talking in relationship or marriages. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon. Yes, I think there was once an incident whereby when someone was talking to a wife and immediately the husband was coming from work, I think the wife's mood just changed and she was just telling her neighbor, please go, please go, please go. Like she didn't even want her husband to know that she was talking to outsiders. But out there, you see her husband very lively, very kind. So I would want to ask this question. Is it that abusers are kind like outside? When they come out, they are very kind, they are very generous outside. But when they come home, they are a different character. Can it be so?
Sure. There are some people that they will do things for you to, especially even in our various churches. We have two characters that we show. Someone will go to church and portray him or herself as an angel. But when the person comes home, the kind of life that the person lives is very different, in an awkward way. So it is true, some people might maybe relate to others who are not closer to them very well in a nice way, but when they come home, they are very abusive people. So it might happen that way.
Okay, thank you, Abigail. Uncle Simon, because you raised an important point, I would want to come to you. So if someone is going through that kind of situation, if you realize that your husband or your wife is portraying that kind of behavior, what can you do? Like we say as Christians, the only person that you have to talk to is God. When you have a problem, you can't even share your problem. And even in the society that we are, sometimes it's very difficult for you to just go out and share your problem, because you might think that in one way or the other, people might use it against you. So if you find yourself in this kind of situation, how do you come out of it? How do you seek for help? Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie. Yes, it's kind of one of the canker within marriages. The fact of the matter is that some people fear their husbands even more than their colleagues. People see their husbands and their heart beats. People see their wives and they cannot even talk. It's a serious problem. So my advice would be, mostly some of these issues, we don't use spiritual way of tackling it. It's true that you have to pray, but sometimes you can pray and pray. Some of these issues are more of actions. You need to see a counselor in this process. Then when you go beyond that and it doesn't help, there are some things that personally you have to begin to talk. Look, human being may not want to talk, but at some point in time, you can be able to lure your husband to talk to you. There's exciting moments in your marriages, trust me. However it may be, if that marriage is not too good and it is at the verge of, there will be an excitement moment one day. So I believe that you should be able to fish out some of these as excitement moments where you can sit your partner down and begin to collaborate and begin to talk. Let him know sometimes it's just an issue. You know, men, we have that ego. Sometimes when you have a problem with your wife, it takes the wife to beg you before you're able to come back to it's an ego. So sometimes when you're able to identify it's an ego problem, try to begin to bridge that gap. Begin to talk to your husband. That is the situation. And I fear, or maybe I experienced this and this when this thing happened. Sometimes some of these issues are solved between the two. And if the communication is too much effective and it's open, trust me, it may help. And if you go further and it doesn't help, then you can seek you people who are in the system, counseling and stuff that can also go forward to help. Then you add prayers. Don't say prayers is not important. It's very important, but the most important, you have to act in the physical manner and see how best you can be able to approach some of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I've seen a minister's wife here. Mrs. Tanya in Team Jima, can you hear me? Mrs. Tanya in Team Jima, can you hear me? Okay, maybe the network is bad. Okay, I know that before marriage, we have this pre-counseling sessions with maybe sometimes our pastors or sometimes from Lions counselors as well. So is there a way that maybe we can fuse in together to learn about people, like the personality types? Or let me put it this way, is there a way to know that your supposed husband or your husband to be or your wife to be may abuse you emotionally in future? Can we detect it when we are dating or during pre-counseling sessions? Can we detect it? Premarital counseling, can we detect it? Abigail.
Sorry, I went off. Yeah, I just came in. So
yeah, I said, you know, when we are about to marry, we just go for this premarital counseling. And sometimes it is the pastor who hears us. At other times, we are lucky to have maybe licensed counselors or professional counselors who come in to counsel us before we marry. Is there any way that we will be able to identify this kind of traits in our husbands to be or wives to be, that when we get married, they are going to abuse us emotionally? If that is the case, how can these pastors or these professional counselors help them to come out of it before we get married? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think before you get married, it is not just a one-day job. It is a long-term relationship that you get to know of yourself. You live with the person, not that you are living in the same house with the person, but in your everyday life, the person will always be with you. Through your conversations, through actions, your thoughts and feelings, you might see one or two things from the person. Through your conversations, you might see all the signs and everything that shows that this person might be an abuser. So it's not far from you. As you are moving with the person, you need to study the person and know the person that you want to move in with before you take the issue to a pastor. A pastor might not be, a pastor is not a God to know your problems or what you are going to. You are in the relationship and it's a practical thing. So you should know that if I enter into this relationship, will I be able to endure all this or not? If you think you cannot endure such abusive words and those things, it's better you quit, because the pastor might not know. Maybe you go to the pastor or maybe a counselor to counsel you, but you might not say all the things that might happen at the real life situation or in your relation. You cannot say it all to the pastor. So it's up to you, the person, that you have to come out. Maybe during the counseling, if you think you really love the person, you want to move in with the person, you just bring those issues up. And I think it's not just a one-day thing that can solve it. For example, if the person is a hot-tempered person, this thing is not a one-day job that you can maybe make the person stop it or not. So it's a gradual thing. It's a process that you need to go through. And if the other partner, you see that you can endure such things, then you move on. But the pastor cannot do anything about it because you have really made your choice and you want to go with the person. So that's my point of view over here.
Okay, thank you. So in the worst scenario, can emotional abuse lead to divorce?
Sure. It can lead, because when somebody is in emotional abuse, the person becomes what? Have low self-esteem. You know that it brings low self-esteem to the person. You cannot move with your colleagues, you cannot, everything that you do, because your partner has been criticizing you. You always feel very low for yourself. You don't want to even mingle with others. You don't want to do anything with others because you don't even have trust in you. You don't have confidence in you, in doing something. So always, baby, like, when you're happy, you will not be happy. You might not be of yourself. And also, you will always be depressed. You will always be depressed. So I think with all this, it can lead to divorce. The person might sit down one day and say, no, I can't sit down and die for this person. Die because of my husband or my wife or this. It can also bring what? A divorce.
And let me add a quick one to these processes of the divorce issues and the first question.
Okay.
Yes. So most studies have shown that premarital counselors, pastors or counselors are more successful than the post. The reason is simple. going into marriage, the excitement, the hopes, the idea that I'm going to succeed, the societal demands, you want to marry and be free from the society. That is controlling you so that you're not able to do anything bad. The love that you hope for. So people marry, and at the end of the day, you realize that they are not getting those hopes. They are not getting those excitement they hope for, maybe they hypothesized. So at the end of the day, like issues of this emotional abuse pop up, psychological abuse, financial abuse, all these things will pop up. And trust me, when these things pop up within the process, you don't have to die because of the fact that you didn't know. So leading to this question of this emotional abuse, leading to people to divorce or something like that. So it is highly possible. And this is the killer today. Most educated people don't use the physical abuse because they know they'll go to jail. Most don't do something that will cause them because they are educated. So you don't see most educated like lecturers beating their wives. You don't see doctors beating their wives. You don't see somebody who is well educated like a lawyer beating their wife or the husband. But you see that they would rather torment their wives with emotional abuse. And most people are dying out of this. And most people are not well. Psychologically, they are not well because of this emotion. So it's a killer. It's a strong killer. I mean, my approach has always been that after all, there may not be marriage in heaven. So why die and go to hell because of marriage? So when we begin to see some of these issues, we try to keep them. We try to control them. When it is beyond our control, when we cannot do anything about this, trust me, the best option is to find your way out. So you can save yourself and also prepare yourself for heaven. Other than that, when you die out of this emotional abuse, God will not forgive you that you died out of this and that you'll be able to go to heaven. So we should be very careful and be more mindful about how we treat some of these issues. Other than that, we'll lose our life and lose our marriages as well too. Thank you, Auntie.
Thank you. Please, a follow-up question. A follow-up question. So in your view, will you recommend that there should be a post-marital counseling? Do you think it's important? The second question I have for you is, as a society, as family and friends, what role can we play in maybe saving some of these situations? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, when you interact with most counselors, they'll tell you that the most important counseling is the post one. Because that's where you meet the realities. The first one is a warm-up. It is preparing your mind, preparing your psychological mind to marry. And when you begin to see the reality, that's why you need counseling. But more people feel like, oh, they are grown. After all, I'm able to marry, I'm able to do this, what again? And that is the problem. So for me, you are counselors, you know for sure that post-counseling or within the counseling process when you are married is the most important thing. That's the most important thing. But people are afraid today because that is where maybe they may disclose some issues to people. You get it? That is the problem now, because once you begin to tell a counselor, my wife don't do this, even sex is a problem. I didn't know my wife is not good in sex. I didn't know my wife could not do this. And that is where you're afraid that one day your issue will go out. And some of these issues are very sensitive. They are very sensitive that if you don't take it, they even break the marriage before the marriage breaks from you. And that's why people do not want to share. People don't want to go. Even husbands and wives will be going through some of these trials. But the case is that maybe we are living in a small community, in a small church. You may want to share your problem with people and get some insight. But you realize that when you share the next time, it is a topic in the car. It is a topic in the bus going to a wedding or going to some places. So it's sometimes it's killing us. And that is leading to the societal issues. Instead of society coming to build up and help marriage is, we're rather seeing faults. People don't appreciate how people are doing well in marriages. However, they are seeing issues that will probably bring down the marriages. So I see that society have a role. But in as much as society is having a role, I've always been saying that marriage is you. Marriage is you, because the side may say anything. And say, fine, these things are societal pressure. But when you are able to understand deeply and know the reality, the importance, the reason why you got married, you may overcome some of these things. You may even use your marriage as a point of contact to be able to change people's mind so that they will not rather influence you. The question is, when you leave that marriage because of society, where are you going? Do you know where you are going in the first place? And the same society that will also put pressure on you to stop the second one. So we should be very careful and mindful of all these things so that maturity will come to play when we are married or when we are in our marriages. Other than that, we'll lose so many things and we will not be able to enjoy our marriages. And I think this may help.
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
I want to add one or two things to it.
Okay, Abby, go ahead.
Yeah, we all need education because the post-counseling is very, very important, as our brother said, because that one you have faced the reality in the marriage. So you know what to do. So telling someone will help in a way that it will help you to let the marriage works in a way. But if we keep things to ourselves, it will not help. So we need to educate the public that when you enter into marriage, that is not all. It's there that you are going to face what challenges. And always, like our society portray it in a way that when you enter into marriage, that is it. You are good to go. Everything will be okay for you. But we don't bring the bad things or the incidences that might happen in the marriage. We always say the good side, but we don't normally say the bad side. Oh, awali ene beye fruitful, beye say, debi ayeka at the panel nefa. But at the bonini there, we don't bring it out. And also confidentiality, because you shouldn't mean confide in one person. I be kan ya asem a kire na obekọ akọka wa asem a kire obi, then asem no nyina na abedadwa. Someone might even call him or herself as a counselor, but the person who can wa asem kire na unye secure, you are not secure in whatever you tell the person. So I think the general public needs education on this, that if you get into marriage, it is not all is not finished. You need to be always counseled so that the marriage can work. Thank you.
I have, may I ask a question? I have a question.
Yes, please, go ahead.
The question is, in a relationship, whether courtship, is there any way you can find out if there's going to be emotional abuse or the partner is going to be an emotional abuser? And the second question is it because we have different expectations of each other? And if so, how do you solve that problem? I'm done.
Okay, Abigail, are you going to take it, or Simon, will you take it for us?
Yeah, let me take the second one. The second one, the expectations and the hopes that we have for each other. You know, sometimes we over exaggerate things. We feel like once we meet somebody, the person is like an angel. But one thing we need to know is that so far as there's sin on this earth, none is perfect. So far as there's a sin, we are living with sin. There's nothing like a perfect being. And when you have this in mind, and you have this formation of your intuition that, oh, okay, I am going to deal with somebody who is a human being, who can fall like me, who is having mistakes, then your expectations and your hope may not be the way you are, so that you will not be surprised when you see some attitude as human being. Even Christ had to go through some human feelings and he has to commit some kind of human errors. Let me put it that way, because he was human. But in as much as he did this, he was much very aware that he's human. So when we get to know some of these principles that, oh, okay, I am dating somebody, I'm into courtship, this person is capable of maybe having a problem, I'm ready to help and assist the person correct it, then your hopes and these things might be minimized. Then the first one, how will I know if I'm dating somebody? How will I know that this person will have emotional or maybe can abuse me emotionally? You know, sometimes when we are in relationships or dating, our focus is on love. We see love as the whole thing. And love covers everything that we see. If there are warning signs we don't see, and the person is dating me, he could give me everything. Because of that, I'm ready to accept anything. When we then pay attention to some details, some small details, unaware talks. People make some comment anyhow. Your husband could tell you something that you think it should not be appropriate, but because of love, you're not much careful about that. So when we are allowing love, that's a physical love, to be able to cover all these things, we'll be making a mistake. I always say that when we are sending somebody in marry or to marry the person, you look at the person comprehensively. You study the person from all the indicators, all the key indicators. Is the person socially sound? Emotionally, is the person sound? Am I not being lured by the person's physical money he gives to me? Am I not being lured by all these? Some of these things, when you observe them, you get to know them. We are not saying that they are not, you cannot correct them. We are all, don't say, I'm going to observe. If I don't see those things, then I can marry. We may see some of these iota of some of these things small. But in as much as we are looking at them, we should be careful so that we don't let them overshadow love. If they overshadow love, then love will lead us somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I've heard people say that if I leave, where am I going? If there's a separation, how will I take care of myself? How will I take care of my kids? What will my pastor say? Will God be angry with me? And so then they would just be in it and probably die or go run mad or be depressed or go through so many bad things. I would want us to talk about the second subtopic, which is financial abuse. Can we say that if somebody is financially independent, the person cannot be subject to being abused emotionally? Can we say that? Is it that it is always those who are poor that are being emotionally abused? If somebody is well-to-do, can he or she be also emotionally abused? Thank you.
When you come to financial abuse, it's not only a well-to-do people. Somebody might be have money, a well-to-do person, but within the person is not happy. You might see people driving big cars. You might see people doing a lot of shopping, but when you go to their house or their homes, they are not happy because it's always money. Everything is money. The husband provides the money, all right, but you don't have access to it. Maybe for housekeeping, the person might give you, this money is for only housekeeping. The person will take the money for shopping, for foodstuffs and other things. But for money, maybe, for example, a woman, the money that the husband will say, my wife or my lover, I'm giving you this money for your upkeep, your own self. That one is not there. So the person might be going through some trauma, psychological trauma, even though you see the person as a well-to-do person, but within him or her, the person is not seeing it that way. So we can also say that, because when we come to the explanation, definition of financial abuse is it's one partner exercising control over the other partner's access to financial resources. So which diminishes the abused partner's capacity to be financially self-sufficient and forces them to depend on the perpetrator financially. But it's a demand. Bibi ehia wo fie bia, sometimes obi ho no ma hu ni shepe so bibi ehia wo fie bia, just say ono a na akodwom obi wo kwampa, the person doesn't give the money to the husband. The person doesn't give the money to the wife to go to the market. Ebia ono a bekwa akodi dwa no na odi abegu ho. Ebia obekọ baabi a me ma o minute kwa ha, you say like rules and regulations ewo ho. So the person will not be happy in their mind. But you see the person say, hey, we mu was school. So na bia enije bia enifi. Thank you.
Thank you too. So when we come to financial abuse, I would want to get a difference. Is it that my husband doesn't give me access to his money, or he doesn't give me access to my own money. Let's say I work, but I can't spend my money because my husband would have to direct me on how to spend the money. Is that what financial abuse is?
It's one of it. It's one of it. Because how can I be working and my husband will tell me, you are not supposed to do this? My husband will be controlling all my money. It shouldn't be so, because I worked for it. So I need to know how to spend my money. You are not the one to tell me. After all, you're also a worker. So you are working. So how come? But you know, understand yourself. Maybe you might say that you have rules in the house. ABR, this month we are using this. You bring this, I bring that. You put it together to take care of the house. That one is fine and different. Rather than somebody might be taking your checkbook or maybe your ATM card and go and withdraw the money, and the person might have totally control over the money. Midway amount, use this for this. Some might even say that the money that you send to your relatives or your mother or your father, the person might detect for you. Send 100 Ghana, send 200 Ghana to your mother. But it shouldn't be so. So I think it's also one of them. And also another one is refusing to work or pay bills. You might stay with your partner in the same house. Your partner is a worker, as well as you are also a worker, and he doesn't want to pay anything. You put all the bills on you, the school fees, the light bills, the water bills, and everything. You put it on you in the name of I'm having a project to do for our own good. So does it mean that if you are having a project, you have a project ahead of you to do, it means that you shouldn't take care of the house. So after the project, after you have finished building your house or whatever it is, and the person is dead, how are you going to stay in that project? So it's also one of them, refusing to work or pay bills in the house. It's also another one. And we are saying that withholding access to money and bank accounts. Some people choose, as I said it earlier on, now when ATM card you need to go to your partner to ask permission first before you go and withdraw your own money that you have worked for. It is so bad. So I will just pause here.
Okay. I would want to give a scenario. Okay. Yeah, Simon. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know where it is enshrined in our law, and it's a perception outside there that Bemandi or Baisika. So it appears like both partners, you're all working, Oba Jessica, Bemba Jessica. But I don't know, some people have a perception that Oba Sika dear, Edekofie, Bemba Sika na Edesha Oba. When it happened that way, what do you say? What is your perception about some of these issues? And is it a form of abuse, this financial abuse to the man?
Okay, I think with this one I can answer. Yes, it's a form of financial abuse in the sense that two people have come together to live under one roof, and that you are just starting life together. You have come together to be one. Two has come together to be one. So in that case, you need to manage all your finances together. The burden of finances or responsibility shouldn't be be apportioned to only one person. A man or a woman can take up any responsibility in the house. It's about communication. Both would have to sit down, talk about it. Maybe, can you take care of this? I'll take care of that. Can you do this? I'll do that. Because I don't think that in this modern world, any woman will just wake up one day and say, I am going to marry and I'll let my husband do everything for me, just because you think he is the man and he's supposed to take care of you. It doesn't work that way. At a point in time, the person will be fed up. especially when kids come in. Maybe if it's the two of you, the person can manage. But sometimes when kids come in, it will be so overwhelming for the other party that if you don't step in to help, it's going to create problems for you. So the person will see you and like, just because I am taking care of everything, why can't you also support? So there is no law anywhere that it is only the man who would have to take care of the house. And now I am proud of so many women because more women are coming up to that realization that we also need to help our husbands. So in one way or the other, some people would even want to take care of the cooking at home. Like when it comes to home stuff, I'll do the housekeeping, I'll do A, B, C, D, but you can also use your money for the projects, maybe housing projects or any projects that you are undertaking, and also maybe pay the fees of the kids and other things. But when it comes to maybe clothing and other stuff at home, I will take care of it. So there is no rule, or there is no saying that it is only the man or the husband that would have to take care of it. A man can Thank you.
Thank
Abby,
you.
would you want to add something to it?
It's a mutual understanding that maybe you all sit down and you go by maybe we want to do this. I want my wife, we want to do a project. So for 3 years ahead of us, my salary or my money will go into the project. Then yours too is for housekeeping. That one, you have gone for what? Agreement. It's a mutual understanding. But in a situation whereby one will not bring the other money, and I say, me the project cry and family home family sika manage it, and it's never done anyway because in Sakone and Saba. So it should be a mutual understanding between the two of you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd want to ask this question. And I'll use this scenario. Let's say you get married. Before you got married, you were working. Be it the man or the woman, you were working. And just after you got married, your spouse tells you that you need to be at home. Just stay home and take care of the kids, or manage the home for me. I will take care of everything. Is it a sign of financial abuse? I just want to know, or can it lead to financial abuse?
Yes, it's a sign of financial abuse, because when it comes to that way, you are not able to get money from anywhere. The husband wants to abuse you in all ways, because in this our modern world, we move with money, we do everything with money. So your partner is denying you of your work that you used to do, that you get money from to do your things. It will get to a point that you cannot even go to him to ask of what? Money. It's not, as our brother said, it's not only him. I'm using him. When I use him, you have to all understand. I'm not talking on behalf of the women. It can be both sides. But when your partner is denying you of staying in the house, not to work, it's a financial abuse, because it will get to a point you cannot go to him or her to ask for money, especially, for example, maybe to buy pants and other things. You will not get that help. It will get to a point that you will not get, because only one source of money in the house will never help. So it's also a sign of financial abuse, and it shouldn't be so. Thank you.
And let me add a quick one to that.
Okay.
Yes, these abuses, they are linked. They're interconnected in marriage. Some men are very smart to start from that place. They want to clip your mind, or maybe probably lock you there. Whilst you're not financially independent, you try to seek help from the man. So whilst the man tells you not to work, it's starting from there. At a point, always going for the money from the man, psychologically, you'll not be sound. At a point, you cannot go. But you feel like, why? Even if I want to buy biscuits, I'm going to church, I need like 20 cedis in my pocket to be able to give tithe or maybe offering. I have to demand money from the man. So while the man starts that angle, be careful. Well, it means that you'll not be financially sound. And once you're not financially sound, psychologically, you're not okay. And it will creep into the fact that emotionally, you are down. You get it? So any point there's a starting point, don't do any work. No one will have money and say, don't do any work. It doesn't need any extra money. No. Because once you marry and your family grows, you need a lot of financial capacity to help that. And don't forget, this issue of being in the house, that alone is a psychological issue. You see your colleagues always dress up, going to work, and you are in the house. That alone puts some stress in you. Like I said, oh, your baby, you don't have anything to do. All is to wake up and wash your clothes and be washing the man. And no. It's a bad sign. Even if the person will work and he doesn't bring much to the house, that alone of dressing to work, it brings some joy. You interact with people outside there. You get to learn some experiences. You get to know how people relate. And some of these conversations and outside, everything is going to help. So if that angle is coming that stay in the house, I'm going to provide anything. No human being can provide and not be fatigued. At the point, the woman may ask, oh, I need like, and because you don't work, you don't have anything on you. And it's a serious thing that we need to be very careful. We don't entangle ourselves in some of these situations, or else at a point you'll be locked up, and that will affect every aspect of your life. You will be having emotional problem. Psychologically, you'll not be sound. Socially, you'll not be sound because you don't interact with people at workplace, and that will cost your marriage very well.
Okay.
So
I
in that case,
want to come in with the examples, the common examples that we also see. One is also stalking or harassing the spouse while they are at work. Some people are jealous to the extent that when their even partner goes to work, they might be following them. They might be going through their phones to know the kind of men or the kind of people that the partner has been talking with, and all those kind of things. Sometimes they might even go to the workplace and create a scenes and other things. All these are also financial abuse, because if you keep on doing this, it means that you want your partner to be sacked from workplace. So it's also another form of financial abuse. And I also have another one that is forcing the spouse to engage in financial crimes. Some people might be working with big companies and other things, and their partners will be telling them, the writing what bad checks and other things. No more we are near free financial abuse. So that's what I wanted to add to it.
Okay, thank you. So in that case, can we say that financial abuse can lead to emotional abuse? Does it have any connection?
Yes, I would say yes, because for the example that I just raised, that when you have been stalking your husband or your wife at workplace, when you go there, you'll be stalking the person. Maybe the boss might be going somewhere with your wife or your husband, and you'll be tracing, following them. It doesn't make sense, and it will make the person think otherwise. Even your boss, what will your boss think about you? Your boss will even get to know that you are not of yourself in the marriage. So it also leads to emotional abuse. Thank you.
And good. So it starts from this angle. You are not financially dependent. So even the type of shirt to wear, it's the man that will buy for you because he has told you not to work because of you don't have money. Oh, then you buy the shirt and something happened. You want to go to another program, you need another shirt to go. Ideally, you have to maybe wear a different dress. Then it will start like, you cry, you are not working. We give you money to buy a dress, and everywhere you want money to buy a different dress. You get it? Emotionally, the person is killing you because you don't have the capacity to buy your own. So these things are very connected, these variables, in terms of financial, emotional, and social, and all the other aspects, psychological, they are very related. in terms of marriage. So you say the person is using the finances to abuse your emotions. You cannot talk. You want a dress, you cannot even say. And because of that, you are dying within. So your emotions, you don't have the self-confidence. Sometimes the dress you've not even bought for yourself. You didn't use your money. You are wearing it, you don't like it. It is killing your emotions. Confident, you are losing your confidence. You see, you don't own a dress because you cannot talk. If you talk, you say, next time in Tom Mount, you get it. So you see that all your self-confidence and these things, you lose them. You'll not be of yourself. You'll be walking empty. And something will happen to you. You need money to do. We are human beings. Sometimes deep within you, if you are in a car going to somewhere, you might want to buy something to chew on the way and you don't have money. You see, you'll be down. You see people buy, when you're returning for a long journey, you've gone to a place, a wedding, you are returning, people are buying things on the way. You have money to buy. Realize that you'll be dying slowly. Financial, emotional, they are closely linked. They are related, and this should be very steadied enough so that we don't entangle ourselves in any of them.
Thank you. So in that case, how do we solve emotional? How can we help someone who is being emotionally and financially abused? Is there any way that we can reach out to the person? Just like we said about emotional abuse, are there any signs that maybe a friend or a family can know that this person is going through this kind of situation? And if there's a way, how can we help those people? Thank you.
Okay. There are so many ways to kill a cat. And for your relatives to know that maybe this person is going through financial abuse. For example, when you are making a joint account to charge large amount of money, maybe you'll be having joint account with your partner. Before you go for money, the other partner should be aware of it. That one, it means that you are not free. You don't get your freedom. For example, maybe your mother is at the village in dire need of money. And for you to send the money, you need to inform your partner before you can send the money. By the time that maybe your partner too might have traveled. So by the time that your partner comes, then the harm has already been caused. Now, and I said, baby star. It will get the family informed that this person is not of him or herself. Because me here sika, I just say my chayama ni kuna na asa ne yere wo hono mansnaba or di sika na brem. They will get to know. They will surely get to know. And sometimes to financial abuse, like as our brother said, dressing money will be will tell people that you are not of yourself. You don't like it. But now I was saying, dressing crowd will tell people that this person is going through financial abuse. And the way to help, like I said, we all need mutual understanding in marriage. Is communication. You just talk to your partner that ebia this thing na koso. In fact, enkoye mame abrabo mu nsem nti misrawo. Let me have access to my own money. Like you need to sit the person down. You sit the person down and get that understanding. I think things will begin to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail. I've seen Life Coach Ajua online. Please, are you still online? Hello, Life Coach Ajua, can you hear me? Okay, I think that maybe she's away from her phone. It's been an interesting night. I think we've all learned a lot this evening. We still have some few minutes to wrap up things. And I just want to chip in this. You know, now in the like in the world that we live in, I think we respect people by the kind of marriages that they have. And people are looked up in a way when you are not married. If you are married, you earn respect. If you are not married, you don't earn respect. Especially when you are divorced or you are separated from your spouse, then we see it as a taboo. People wouldn't even want to associate themselves with you. So me, I always talk about society. As a society, how do you think we can help? Because a lot of these emotional abuse has let people commit suicide. Others have run mad. Others have been depressed and they're in the mental homes and other places. As a society, how can we help people who are emotionally abused, who are financially abused? I think when we were starting, I said something. I said that with physical abuse, it shows. The signs are so glaring for people to know that this person is being abused physically. So now they don't do it anymore. Now we are being emotionally abused. Our finances, we don't have control of our finances. Sometimes if you don't want to even sacrifice and stay home and take care of the kids, you are seen as wasonde your own kids. You don't want to stay home and look after them. So at the end of the day, you look bad in the eyes of so many people. You will be the bad person. The abusers are now playing victims out there, because even they are so kind and generous that when you go out there and you tell them, my wife is abusing me, my husband is abusing me, they will look at you in a certain way. They might think that you just want to lie or you just want to say something and just have your way. So as a society, how can we come together to just reach out to these people? Because there are a lot of them out there. There are a lot of people who are emotionally abused, but they can't speak out because of what society will say. So what are some of the measures that we can put in place to help them? Thank you.
All right, thank you. As I already said, is education. Education, no, I say more. We need to be educated as a country, as a society, as a family, as church. It's not a one-day job. That in our various schools, even as our children are growing, we need to inform them. We need to let them know that when they grow up, one day they will become parents. They will become husband and wife. They will also be married. So all these things, we need to teach them for them to know, so that when they grow up, we will be able to erase it from the system. Other than that, things will not work for us as a society. And the society must be also educated. How can the society be educated? The measures are at church places, in our various church groups and other things. We need to let this education be more of us, so that we will be able to at least educate a lot of people, because there that you can get the people to talk to. And in our schools and our communities, like talks and our televisions. Now our televisions are used for I would say unnecessary things, movies and other things. We need to do more of these educations on television, so that it will reach the people. And I think when we continue to do that, we'll all be successful in our various relationships. Thank you.
Thank you. Please, is there any question that someone would want to ask or contributions? Now, I think let's open it up for contributions and questions before our panelists wrap up things. I can see a hand up. Priscilla, please, do you have any contribution or question?
Hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, please, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Priscilla, I think you have muted yourself, so we cannot hear what you're saying.
Hello. Hello. Oh,
Yeah, hi,
hi.
please go ahead.
Okay. Yes, I was saying that my hand was up before Abigail answered the question. I think she has said almost everything that I had wanted to say. But to add up to what she said, I think among we ourselves, we should try and always live our reality instead of people's thoughts. Because if you try to impress people, in fact, you enslave yourself to a relationship or a marriage. So it is good that after the advices, the counseling, and all that, we ourselves should also be self-conscious. You shouldn't be a slave to your marriage or relationship. It shouldn't be so. The right thing as a human being, you should know that you also deserve the best. You deserve to be mentally sound. So don't allow your partner to abuse you in any way, especially in this era where most people are very educated and they know what is right from wrong. So I think this is what I have to add.
Thank you. Please, Irene, you can go ahead and make your contribution. So if it's a question that you want to ask. Okay, if Irene is not ready, I want to ask the question. Please, any of you can answer it. At what point, as a woman, at what point, or as a wife, at what point would you say that I am being financially abused by my husband, so I have to put a stop to whatever I'm doing? Example, maybe you earn more than your husband, and naturally you are somebody who would want to take care of things. You wouldn't want to go and ask because maybe you were independent for a long time before you got married, or you think that it's nothing for you to even take up some of the responsibilities at home. So maybe you pay school fees, you take care of the home, you buy clothes, as well as even buying clothes for your husband and other things. Just because you are doing this, your husband has relaxed and is not doing anything. As a wife, at what point would you say that enough is enough? I am being financially abused, or maybe I am giving room to be financially abused? Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Hi.
Can I answer?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
You
hello.
can.
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I believe that right from the onset, no spouse should allow his or her partner to take advantage of their generosity to be a weakness. Of course, when it comes to giving or doing good, it should be reciprocal. It is not written anywhere that it is the woman who is supposed to give to the man or take total control of the house, or it is the man who is supposed to do that. So right from the onset, that is why it is very important that every single human being, before you go into a serious relationship or marriage, you should go through the counseling process. And I believe most counselors will definitely tell you that when it comes to managing a home, it is not a gender role, that a woman should be the one buying for the husband to impress him, for him to know that she loves him or something, or the man should be the one giving out to the woman. No. So right from the onset, the two of you should set your boundaries right. Make sure that you are compatible enough to be together, so that at one point one person wouldn't think that, no, if I don't do this, because sometimes some of these things is as a result of how they are being treated by their spouses or partners. Sometimes I feel that, okay, my spouse has met somebody out there, and I think he or she is giving that person attention. Why don't I also do this, overdo this, for the person to know that I also love him or her? so that the person will stay with me. If a man or a woman wants to cheat, it is not about how good or how generous you are to the person. So right from the onset, the two should set their boundaries right and know that this is a no-go area. This area we can go there. Giving is not supposed to be the role of one person. It should be reciprocal. So far as there's love and and not leave it for one person. Thank you. Hello.
Thank you. Please, if Simon, yes, do we have financial responsibilities for only men? Can we say that these are the financial responsibilities of men? And maybe Abigail will also tell us about the financial responsibilities of women. Can we classify that?
Okay, so let me share my opinion on this. I don't think any paper or any article or any law have stated that this is what you need to do as a man when you marry, buy this. There's no list to that. But we marry with wisdom. We marry with wisdom. Yeah. So you went for a woman, and the Bible tells that the person is your companion. The person is going to be a helper. You're going to care for the person. You're going to live with the person. So I think it's the kind of openness, structure. You earn more than the woman. It's natural that you have to provide to the house. You get it? So that at least you are all burden sharing to each other. And this person, you know that he's not taking much and you are taking this amount. It's naturally, you should know that some things are for you. It's responsible that you have to probably go into this and help the person as well. So when you understand this principle, at a point in time, the woman might be earning more than you. So that you don't wait for the table to turn and say, oh, okay, you were mafia me. This time I also mafia you. When it happened that way, when you put those strict rules that, oh, okay, for me, my own is to buy food. If the food finishes, where my money will come in. If it happened that way, you are creating a whole lot of issues. Because one day, things will turn and you realize that your rules will not work. Oh, for me as a woman, my rule is that I only buy tomatoes and any other thing I will not buy. If you set those strict rules, trust me, you wouldn't be able to follow that. If you are going to build? Who is going to build? Would it be the responsibility of the man or wife? So this time, the modern marriage we are seeing today it's more of burden sharing. You weigh your financial capacities and say, okay, per this, I'm able to do this. Even when you share together, some of these things might not even come in. At a point in time when everybody is coming home with something, to realize that there's nothing like, oh, I'm the one to do this. I'm the one to do this. Things will flow and things will work the way you expected. But when you put strict rules on it, that's where everybody will be checking the other. Oh, okay, I bought water last week. Where's your water? You didn't buy water this week. You're the one to buy this. As if you are living in a boarding house or maybe a hostel where this one will have to buy this and this one also buy this when this is finished. That will not help. Then a quick one on the first one about how can we stop financial abuse? And one thing we need to know is that openness is very serious, or maybe it's something we need. Openness in marriage. I know people, they got married to their husbands, but they're able to build in their villages, in their hometowns, that the man is not aware. Imagine you have this situation. You live with your wife. Your wife have been complaining, I don't have money. Then in the next few years, realize that the man or the woman has bought in the house. How will you feel? How will you even feel? You are the one caring for this person, giving the person money up and down. He's having 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms in the village. You see? So when we are open and some of these things, we are not too much open and everybody, oh, that will not help. But when we are open and we all know that, oh, this month, this year, the next year, this is what we are doing, it will help rather than being a secret in our marriages. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Abigail, would you want to add something to it? Hello, Abigail.
Hello.
Yeah.
I will also say that it's a matter of planning. Planning, when you sit down, my word is always mutual understanding. When you sit down to plan, on what you want to do, I think things will move on smoothly for you. So maybe it's a shared responsibility. You sit down, you plan with your partner. Maybe this month we will all spend this amount of money. So you sit down, you bring the money together, you buy this. I'll use my money to buy this. You also use your money to buy this. I don't think there will be a cheat in this aspect. When you sit down to plan and you know and you trust your husband or your partner, I don't think one person might feel what to be cheated. So it's a matter of planning and a matter of understanding and sharing of what responsibilities together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And one thing I would want to add is marriage is work in progress. Marriage is hard work. There is no lay down procedures when it comes to marriage because everybody's marriage is unique on its own. We cannot say that person A is doing this, so I would also want to do that. What might work for me might not work for you. So you need to understand your partner very well so that you'll be able to do things that will make that person happy or things that will bring peace to your home. And we also have to bear in mind that we have different backgrounds. We grew up in different backgrounds. Our upbringings are not the same. Yeah. Somebody is coming from a different background. You are also coming from a different background. We are all used to our ways of doing things. And now we have decided to come together and live our lives. And it will be very difficult for you to change me overnight. It will not be very easy for us to change our partners overnight. So I think that in this institution called marriage, one, we should be very patient with each other. It is a learning process for so many people. Some people are coming from broken homes. Other people are coming from homes that there was so much domestic violence. And with this kind of people, you wouldn't expect that much from them. Some people even grew up without love, without any care. Rebecca said, maybe a hustler. And I mean, so this kind of sweet talk, this kind of it is not in my dictionary. So how would you want me to handle some of these issues? So I think that it is important for us to understand our partners, have patience for them, and communicate with them. Whatever you think that is going to make you happy, you let the person know. If you think that somebody is doing, your spouse is doing something to you that you are not happy about, something that you think it can get you into depression, I think you need to draw the attention of your spouse, because for all you know, the person might not even be aware that this is the situation that he or she is putting you into. So we need to be open-minded. We need to communicate with them for them to know what actually we are going through, what we like, what we don't like, and also try to get them into maybe or mold them into what we want. But at the same time, in molding them to be what we want, it shouldn't be by force. We are not supposed to force them. We are supposed to do it in a loving way. And even if you are doing it let's say I want my partner to talk to me in a nice way, to talk to me in a polite way, to respect me, I think I need to do that first. I need to show that kind of love. I need to show that kind of respect to him. I need to treat him the way that I would want him to treat me. In that way, he will learn. But and you say, no, man, say, number one, do this, number two, do that. Sometimes it becomes so irritating. As a whole person will share me say. So I think we need to check that if we are doing it, let's do it more. If we are not doing it, let's go back to the drawing board and let's try to learn how to do it. I think I've seen Priscilla's hand up, I've seen Elvis' hand up, I've seen Tania's hand up. Okay, I'll give the platform to Priscilla, then afterwards Elvis can take over, then the last person will be Tania, then our speaker can wrap up.
Oh, I think I've said what I wanted to say. That's what I said earlier. Hello. Oh, this is my
Hi,
network.
we listen.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I think your hand is still up. That's why.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
then Elvis, can you please? Yeah, Elvis, yeah, you can talk.
Oh, can you all
Hi.
hear me?
Yeah. Yes,
Yes.
please, we can.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to chip in one thing real quick, and it's my opinion, and I think is the way that I think growing up and we all being as human beings, I think we all are aware of that. Because I think one thing that we should all remember and we should all not forget is as human beings, men are naturally, made in their own way, as women are also naturally made in their own way. And men are naturally made in their own way with some responsibilities, and women too are always like made in their natural way, with some responsibilities. So, like, for example, growing up, I don't know, growing up in a house where we have like both, our siblings being male and females in the house. Have you ever seen your mom telling your brother, your female, your male, brother to go and wash the dishes? No, I don't think I've seen that before. And have you ever seen your mom telling in a house where both there are male and female, female siblings, your mom telling your brother to go and sweep the compound? You've never heard that before. So, but right now is like when it comes to our real world right now and the current world we are living in, it's gotten to a point where now we're talking about 50-50, relationship, which is true in some way, depending on how you want to put your 50-50 relationship to. Because there's no way that although it comes to a relationship where the man is going to be providing for the family, and also the woman is also, like example, the woman will be the one maybe financially stable and maybe earning more than what the man is making, doesn't mean the man has to do what? The man has to start sweeping the house. The man has to start sharing responsibilities, as, we all see, because now I'm making more than you. What if the man is making more than, the woman? It's another way around. So it's like, as our brother said earlier, marriage is all about wisdom. We marry with wisdom. You know what I mean? When, for example, when you ask most people that are living overseas, like outside the country, there's some things that sometimes that, most people don't have time. I mean, when it comes to like house chores and other stuff. So you as the man in the house will get to a point where, let's say you come home and your wife will not be around, and you have to make your own plate and eat. And after you make the plate, you don't expect to put the dish in the dishwasher and just wait for your wife to come back. It is that, and some people do, because as my sister also said, like as she said, some people too. I forgot what she said, but let me come back to it. Like, you cannot do that and wait for your wife to come back and do what? And come and wash the dishes. And also, you do it yourself. And it's become a part of like every man living outside the country, because even if you go to a friend's house or party or something and they give you something to eat, you start washing your dishes because it's become something that has become a part of you. And even on the weekends, we know the ladies will make their trash and everything. We'll all make the trash in the house. And on the weekend, it is the responsibility of the man in the house to take the trash out. But in Africa, we say no. So it's like it comes with wisdom, responsibility, and also understanding your partner and knowing, what you as a partner need to do to help, the other. And not forgetting what we as, not forgetting who you are as a female or as a woman in the marriage, to do. Even if you are making millions of dollars or cedis more than what your husband is, making, you still need to do your house chores. You still need to do do the responsibilities that you need to do. And the man too, as a wise guy, or a wise, husband, will also know and understand and watch and see, and also do what they have to also do to help, each other. The partner to make, the home become a very convenient, environment for each other. So I think one thing, I'm trying to say is like we all need to know what we are naturally made of, so that that can also help us in our relationships and in our marriages. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Abigail, I think we are about closing. Do you have anything else to add so that we can call it a day?
Okay.
I think Tanya is ready to talk now. Tanya, are you ready to talk?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Well,
Good
what I
evening.
wanted to add is that, you see, marriage is an institution that the Lord himself, I don't know, depending on your faith anyway, what you believe in, but I am a Christian, and the Bible makes me to understand that marriage is an institution that God himself created, okay? And from my few years in marriage, the experience I've had in marriage these few years, I think one needs a high level of tolerance and then patience and love, okay? Just as the Bible says, when love covers a multitude of sin. So you need to have love for your partner, because when you love your partner and he or she does something that you don't like, you open up, you won't have what it's inside, and then kind of like have some bitterness against the person, because the moment you allow that, you see that your attitude towards the person changes, and the atmosphere in the home becomes very intense, or let's say there's this what do you call, there's no peace. So we have to actually develop that tolerance, patience, and love, and also openness in the relationship or marriage. Whatever you are going through, let your partner know. Whatever he or she has done that you don't like, you tell him or her and see whether the person will change or not. But if the person doesn't change, sometimes you just have to ignore some of that. It's not everything that you try to raise an argument out of it. Okay, so I think that sometimes it's mostly because we hide a lot of things from each other, and that is why these issues come up. And so people say that, like, when you go through all this and you don't wait to die, sometimes it's because we don't speak, that's why you die in it. But when you speak, you'll be able to come out of whatever you are going through, because I don't believe in getting out of the marriage, especially when there are children in there. I believe in using all avenues possible to kind of reach that level where you want to see that marriage, than quickly packing out, and because you feel that you don't deserve that, you are not the kind of lady to be treated that way, you're not the kind of man to be treated that way. And then one major thing that creates all these things is the cheating, whether it's the woman cheating on the husband or the man cheating on the wife. These are the main issues, and then the poverty, or let's say the financial challenges, is what is normally creating all these things. But if you all, come to an agreement that at this point we are facing this financial challenge, so let's cut down on some of our expenses, the things we used to do, the expenses that we can forego, let's look at it and then cut it down so that we will live according to our income. You see that there will be peace. And also we allow the outsiders, or maybe we allow like too many people to intrude into our privacy, like our families, our mothers, our fathers. Your father will call, your mother will call, asking, is your husband around? What are you people doing? It's not everything in the marriage that you have to let your parents know. So it is your home, and you are building it with Christ. So I think that we need to have a little patience and also love. And then we shouldn't see marriage as a competition. So you compare yourself with others, what one is doing for the spouse, and you think your spouse has that money, so you should also do the same thing for you. Our fingers are not the same. It is about love, it's about unity, it's about joy. And also you should have reviews. In my marriage, I have review, like I review the marriage every our anniversary year, like the anniversary month. That's where we review on the day that is our anniversary date. We review the marriage. We look at what I did during that year that he didn't like, and then what he did that I didn't also like. I pour it out, and then we all, if we have to apologize to each other, we do that. Then we go on our knees and we pray, because it's because of this. I can't stay in a marriage. I don't deserve this. That's why the rate of divorce is going so high. And I'm always worried about the kids in the marriage, because I came out from a broken home, like, and the things that I went through because of the little patient my mom didn't have. I don't want my child or any child to go through that. So that's our education needs to be done, moms needs to be organized, so that we bring these issues to the limelight, because before it's like the society frowns on it. People were not allowed to talk about what they are going through, and a lot of them die in the process. But I think with the emergence of these counselors and other things, it will go a long way to minimize some of these issues, and then we will have a happy home. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. It's been an insightful evening. I just want to thank everyone who made time to come and join us this evening. And before we say goodbye, Abigail, would you want to say anything?
I just want to wrap up with all that you have said over here. And my point is, before you enter into any marriage, you need to pray. As Christians, prayer is our weapon. So before you enter into marriage, you need to pray to God and talk to God about your partner. This person is the person going to help me in the near future. Because when we are all entering into marriage, as our brother earlier said, we are all looking about the love. We concentrate a lot on the love, but we don't concentrate on the things that we are going to meet in the marriage. So we all need to pray. And before you enter into a marriage, you need to have trust. Both sides. You have to trust your partner, because if you don't trust your partner, the marriage cannot work in any way. So you need to have trust among yourselves, so that whatever the other partner will do might not hurt you in any way. And you yourself going into the marriage, you need to have confidence in yourself. If you have confidence in yourself, you can be able to excel in your marriage. And you shouldn't be like pressure from the society, pressure from home and other things. If you do that, you will totally fail from your marriage. So that is what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. Thank you all for also joining us. I think our next monthly meeting may be on 27th of August, 2022. So we will entreat all of you to join us again next month. Have a good evening. Good night.